Another basic way to break your opponent's posture when you're playing the closed guard is by picking their elbows out and basically doing the same type of motion that you would do when you're doing the swimming motion, and that's driving your knees forward and bringing your chest up as well. By flaring the elbows out, what it does is it breaks the structure that your opponent has. So essentially, lots of times they're like this, and this creates like a kickstand effect, and it's basically just like a nice, strong, stiff pull that is keeping their posture up. However, if I flare their elbows out, it becomes very hard for them to keep their arms straight. It's physically impossible for me to just straighten my arm fully with my elbows flared out. And that essentially brings their body closer and closer as I work them down. So let me just show you with using Russ here. So we're here like this. Russ has his posture. Now he could be working his elbows in, or he could even just have regular as well. It doesn't really matter. It all applies. Now the difference is with the swim move is I was bringing the points of my fingers inside and bringing them underneath his wrists and forearms. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually taking the bottom of my fingers here and I'm clawing into the crooks of his elbows here. If I can't get in completely inside, and I'll show you different angles, it's not a huge deal. It just helps you in regards to flaring their elbows out. So if there's space here, which some people will give you, I come inside here like this. Look at my elbows. My elbows come inside as well. Here, I'm basically curling my fingers here like this, and now he's trying to keep his posture and keep this pressure. Now what I do is I pull his elbows out. As I do that, now I do the crunching motion, and then I get head control, and then I get my position. Okay, then I can start working my different things that I want to do from the closed guard. Now if you notice a difference in regards to the swim position and the flaring the elbows out, is flaring the elbows out lots of times will get you the underhook. You can still get an overhook depending on his reaction, right? But by flaring the elbows out, this can present a different opportunity for you in regards to getting underhook on them with playing closed guard, whereas doing the swim move many times is going to present you more with an overhook opportunity. So let's change positions here. I have my guard. I want to keep my hips off the mat here, because anytime I do this crunching motion, so Russ just takes, anytime I do this crunching motion, I want to start ideally with my hips off the mat, because now there's some space to where when I do the crunching, my bottom can drive towards the mat as my knees drive forward and my body goes upwards inside. So we're here like this. Let's say this time he might have his elbows inside a little bit more here. And I come here. Now I can't fully get my fingers underneath the pits of his armpit here, but I'm still trying to do the best I can. So he's keeping his elbows inside here tight. Now from here, I'm going to flare my elbows out and flare his elbows out. I drive my hips to the mat, I drive my knees towards me, and I drive my chest up towards him. Boom. Now notice what happened here. This is going to be a very common thing that happens. Is his arms are going to flare out, but my arms are going to end up underneath his arms. And then from here, I can start working my underhook attacks or the different things that I want to do depending on the situation. Or I could swim through and work for an overhook. Whatever your choice of closed guard game is, that's what you can do. Now let's talk a little bit more in detail about the elbow grip here. When I'm here, right, we'll just turn this way, and then you'll just angle this way. So I'm grabbing, perfect world, I'm trying to grab with my fingers inside the crook of the elbow like this, and then flaring him out this way. Now sometimes I can't do that, I can't get this deep, and then I'll grab kind of like right above the elbow because he's not allowing me to get right underneath his elbow. I do the best I can. I grab the things that I can grab that can generate the same type of force in the same type of situation. And then from there, I pull out. It's very hard. It's like, because let's say his hand's on the mat here, right? It's very hard for him to keep his arms straight by me turning his elbow out. And his posture is going to basically lower by me doing this. It just happens naturally. So this is another very good and very common way to do this. And the main time that you do this, and the main time you do the swim type move, is usually, I'm going to get inside Russ's guard. So the main time that you do something like this is when the person basically has like their hands down just straight here, like this, or they're here like this. So if I'm here like this, this is the main time where he'll come up and pull my elbows and then flare out. And that scenario was different than my scenario, right? So I ended up under, so he ended up with an overhook type of situation. There's going to be different things that happen, okay? So don't think of every situation that you see within this video as an absolute truth in regards to what's going to happen afterwards, because it varies highly. And if we go back to the swim move thing, it's the same one where the person lots of times is basically going to have a double hands down, boom, and then they're going to swim underneath. You know, you can do some of these things possibly when they just have one hand, but it does change the dynamic a little bit here. So if we do go back, right, if he's only using one hand, so he's only using one hand here, and this elbow is extremely far back, it changes the dynamic a little bit where I can't physically grab his left elbow. It's not very possible because he's really far back here. But I can grab this elbow here, so he's keeping his posture. Now the big difference here is when I pull his elbow, I have to turn my body to my right. Here, like this. And you can keep your elbow here inside like this. So when I come here like this, he's trying to keep his posture. I have to pull his elbow out, and I have to turn my body to the right. Because if I don't turn my body to the right here, I physically can't drop him down. So if the person is only posting with one arm, and you try to do the elbow type of posture break, bring your elbow down even more here. Yeah, here like this, right? It's still hard. It's hard for me to do it because he has his opposite elbow here helping him keep his posture. Especially, he can grab my gi pants, especially if he's grabbing my gi pants. It's physically difficult for me to do this if I'm not pulling both of his elbows. So if he only has one arm, it doesn't matter, right? If he's doing his left arm, I have to switch to my left. But if he only has one arm, I have to actually turn my body to my right. So he's using his right arm, I'm attacking his right arm, and I have to turn my body to the right. And then I can start getting his posture. I think that's actually an important thing to talk about, because there are lots of people who just lead with one arm, and you're going to have individuals being like, oh, well, I'm picking at the elbow and this isn't working, and that's why it's not working, is because his other elbow is being used as a base for him. So he's using that to still keep his posture, even though I'm pulling at his elbow. So work on these particular tips. If you have any questions or comments, post below. Peace.